Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to Escape Motorhomes. This is our Citroen Relay camper van conversion called Lydia J. This is the van you'll be renting. Today's video is just to show you a little bit how the van works from the outside and the inside, which will be very informative for you prior to picking the van up. We're going to start on the driver's side. So coming down here, the first thing we come to here is your waste port, and this is for the waste water. Inside the van we have this waste hog. You simply pull out the pipe, that connects into there. Apply the container flat and simply put that in there. Once you've done that, slide that under there. That's good to collect your wastewater to a capacity of 10 litres. Once that's full, you simply then just take it away and empty it on the campsite in the grey waste area. Very simple, very simple to operate. Coming back this way, we have two connectors here. First one is a shower for washing off the dog or your muddy boots. And this is very simple to fit, as you can see. It'll only go in one way. Once it's in, you decide whether you want cold water or hot water by turning it right or left, and then simply press that, and that will release water to wash your boots off or wash your dog off. Once you're finished, you simply clip it that way, switch it that way, and just pull it straight out, and then just push this down and make sure it clips. Side by side here we've got the 240 volt hookup connector. So this comes, again, you will find this situated inside the van. It's a 20 meter 240 volt cable. It's got two connectors on it, and it will only go in one way, so you can't get it wrong. So this side connects to the van, so literally you just pull that back, and then you can see there that just slides into there, and once you've got it in, just give it a push and it's in nice and firm. Then your other end will just connect up to the campsite hookup. Once that's hooked up, you've then got 240 volts in the van. To release it, you just press this down here, this little blue lever here, and simply pull back and clip. And then rewind your hose up, your cable up, and that's your 240 volts for when you're on site. Okay. So moving back round the van towards the back here, we have a bike rack which will house two bikes. Always put the heaviest bike first, and then the second bike opposite way around second. This strap here is just to contain this when there's no bikes on it. Obviously you won't have this on. Once you've got your bikes on, these straps here, these cables, go around the bike and then strap in, and you just pull them as tight as you can and get the bikes as tight as possible. We will give you, if you are taking bikes, and bikes are available to rent from us if you don't have your own, we will show you how to do that on the day. It's very simple to do, but once you see it, it's far more simpler. Okay, so we're now going to move around to this side of the van. Here we have our fresh water outlet. The van has a 80 litre onboard water container, so it'll store 80 litres of fresh water. You simply, a little bit like a petrol cap, that just turns and pull it out. We supply you with a 10 metre hose, so that obviously goes into there. Most campsites will have a connector or a water place where you can get water. Some have them actually on the actual pitch that you're on, which is a lot handier. If not, you usually have them at the front of the campsite. So you would just hook that up to the water, pop that in there, and then just turn it on. You leave it. It does take around 10 to 15 minutes to fill up. It's quite a big tank, and when it does fill up, you'll just see water running back out of here. Then you know it's full, and you can just simply pull the hose out, rewind it back up, and put the cap back in. Simple as that. Okay, so moving down to this side, sliding door is on this side, and we have a step here, so that's for ease of entry to the van and out. One thing you must remember is whenever you move off-site, you must remember to put that step back in. It's quite easy to forget and leave it out, and if you catch something it will just rip the step completely off, so please be aware of that. Make sure the step goes back in always before you're travelling, and it simply just slides in, and that's it. Very simple. Here we have the fuel tank. It's just a little flap there, and you do need the key. It's key operated, so don't do like I do where you walk round and suddenly realise you've left your key in the ignition. You've got to go all the way back. You just remember you do need the key. Simply just turn it, so, and it takes diesel. Under here you have a facility here for AdBlue, which is part of the cleansing of the diesel. We always send our vans out full of AdBlue, so you should not need it. It lasts around 3,000 to 4,000 miles. However, if you did need AdBlue, it will indicate on the dash that you do need it, and you must put some AdBlue in. But I think you get 200 miles, it tells you on the dash before. If you don't put any in, then the van will not start after that. However, you should not have a problem with AdBlue, because as I said earlier, we do send the vans out with AdBlue completely full. Okay, so I will put that back on. If you ever need to go under the bonnet for any reason, hopefully you won't need to, all the vans go out fully checked with oil. All the fluids are checked, brake fluid, antifreeze, it's all checked. However, you may from time to time need to top up the screen wash, which is under the bonnet. So you'll find the bonnet release cap just here. Some people find that a bit tricky to find, so it's just here at the side, and you just simply pull that down and that releases it, and then you would nip round to the front. That's under here somewhere. And then you will find your screen washer bottle is just here in the corner. So you simply need to just fill that up, and that's all you should need there. Like I said, all the other fluids, all the oils, everything's all topped up for you before you go. We double check those, so you know. And that's basically it for the outside of the van. I'll show you the awning. So if we just come this way. Just pause that.
Hi, I'm Eleanor and welcome to Escape Motorhomes. This is Lydia J, and I'm just about to show you the inside and how it all works inside. So first of all, we have to open the door. Open our door, and it'll click to open. At the bottom here you've got your step, so you've got to remember, and with the step there's a little lever underneath. You must push it up before it will release, and then you pull it out, and it's the same when you're pushing it back in. Lift it up, releases the catch, and then it'll go back in. Okay, so in we come to the van, and you can see she's a lovely van. I was just looking around it, she's a really lovely van. So what I'm going to show you first of all is the main panel of this van. At the moment we're on off-grid mode, so your solar panel is a 200 watt solar panel, which is amazing because it operates your fridge freezer completely alone, just that, which is here. So above here, this is your master panel, so when on a good day it will hold probably up to 14 volts in it, which is sufficient for an off-grid mode. Okay, now this is before you use any of your appliances. It'll show between 12 and 14. So up here you've got your master button, so that's it on. Okay, and this obviously is self-explanatory here. So this next one's for your lights, your water pump, all your sockets, and your heater. Okay, so at the moment everything's on. Can you see it's dropped because I've actually turned it all on now? So it's obviously using some power. So it's on 13.1 volts. When this goes down to about 10, between 10 and maybe 10 and a half, The best thing to do with it is you can turn your ignition on and it charges up your batteries for you. So just leave it charging up if you need to use your 240 off grid. Okay, at the moment we're not on 240, we're only on 12 volt, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. To change it from 12 to 240, that means from your little this one, your USB 12 to your full 240 pin. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so this is your panel, and up here as well you have just cigarette lighters, and this one is for your phone chargers here, USBs, which is great to use while you're driving. Put them in there and you can, if you've got a long enough lead, and you can charge it up while you're driving. Okay, so we'll start with this part of the van while we're here. You've got a skylight right above you here. Okay, so your skylight is operated like so. It's very jumpy. You have to push the button in here, push the button to release, lift the bar towards you, pull it towards you till it's fully open like that. Okay, now you must remember when you're closing this, you pull it, you do the reverse, you pull it back towards yourself. Always make sure the bar goes above the button till it clicks and it's locked. If it's not, it's going to be open and water will pour in if it's raining. So just make sure the bar's above. Okay, and above here you've got a fly screen there for when you're up in Scotland, because the midges are rife during the summer season. So that's for that. You've also got your night screen, which shades it and completely makes it, blacks it out. So that's your skylight there. Okay, over here you have your microwave oven. Now your microwave oven will only work off grid on 240 volt. Okay, so your inverter, which I'll explain to you in a minute, has to be on for this, but you can't use more than one appliance at a time on a 240. It's either going to be your microwave or another appliance, not simultaneously, not together. Okay, so that's what we recommend you do with that. Otherwise, you're up here, if you remember me saying, that will drop to 10 and below, and you'll hear a bleeping noise to tell you that you're using too much power. Okay, it just won't do it together. So that's your microwave oven. It's very self-explanatory. There's an on and off and all your different settings. It's all there for you to use if you want to use it. Quite self-explanatory there. So that's that. So down here you've got a lovely big cupboard space. In here again you've got your kettle, you've got a toaster, you've got another 3-point plug in there, and you've got another cigarette lighter, which people don't really use anymore. Your little kettle is fab, it just pulls up like that. Okay, and you just make sure though, when you're using your kettle, this little release button for the handle is completely secure, because it's dangerous if it's not. You can burn yourself. And that obviously has a 240 volt plug on it. Okay, so that's your little kettle. And we usually put a coffee machine in here, but it's not in at the moment. We have these lovely little lights that are sensors. They come on automatically of a night time, so you don't have to have any other power on, which is brilliant. Okay, so this just runs in a little lovely little runner there, which is lovely. Okay, so in here you have a pull-out drawer, as you can see. Now this is fantastic for when you're cooking, and it's space. It's your little area here, which comes in a nice little L shape, so you have that. This is not heat proof, that's why we put these in. They're all over the van, and you can put all your hot items on top of that. So that's one of your little your workspaces. Always make sure all your little secure things are all secure before you leave the van on the move. Your fridge freezer is here, like I've just said. It works totally on solar. Fantastic technology, this, I think. And you even have a freezer in it. So you have a freezer at the top and all that fridge space, which works totally on solar. So when you have a night time, when you turn your panel completely off, your fridge freezer will still work. So then your blue lights are not on there, you don't need them on, because the only thing you would need there would be your lights, which you have in all your spaces that you need, in your toilet, in your cupboard, you've got little lights everywhere, so you can turn that off completely at night knowing that your fridge freezer is still operating. Fantastic. Okay, so that's that. I'll turn it back on for now. So that's your fridge freezer. While we're down at this corner here, you can see we've got a fire extinguisher, which is always attached there, which is tested as well and made sure it's all working for you. You've got a mop and a sponge under there as well to clean your floor up when you need it, which you'll need. And your microwave switch is there as well. As you can see here, you can see your microwave switch there, which is probably, it's an on and off switch, which is there. So that's your microwave switch if you need to turn it off for any reason. Okay, now that's that bit. So at the bottom here as well, you've got, these are called levelers, okay, which is good for your van when you're on an unlevel pitch or an unlevel off-grid, wherever you are. So what you do with these is you put them at the front of the van, front of your tyres, either front or back, and then you guide each other and let each other know when the van is actually level. A good way of knowing how the van's level is your door. So when your door doesn't move, it's usually level. Okay, so obviously if the door swings that way, you know that it's not level enough. So that's what we do with your levelers, which are a great thing. They're really important, these, because if you can't sleep on a slope, you can try, but it's not that easy. So that's your levelers there. This chair revolves around, but we'll show you on the day how to do that. Okay, the whole thing, this double seat turns all the way around, which is great if you're probably settled somewhere for a couple of nights or more. It's worth doing it. So that's this here. Up here we have this is your night shades for the front of your cab, which are all fitted. They're all made for Citroen Relay vans, so they fit them perfectly. You've got two for the side, and you've got one great big one for the front of the van, and they're all on suckers, so they black it out lovely, and it's nice and private of a night time. So okay, coming back to your panel and how things work on here. Okay, for your water, okay, the heater button must be on. Okay, so that's your heater. If that's not on, you won't heat up your water, so you must make sure this is on. Okay, so the water heater, that switch has to be on. And if you come over here on this panel here, you can see hot water, that must be on too, and that must be on. Okay, there too. So your heating button's on, okay, on both of them. And it takes usually 20 minutes to warm it up. I'm just turning it off because we're not using it yet. So we don't think we've got any water in the van right now, so we're going to turn it off. So it takes about 20 minutes to warm it up. As Andy said to you before in the outset, there's an 80 litre water tank in the van. It's actually carried inside the van, and it lives under here, under this cushion here. Okay, so under there, your water tank's there, and you've got about this much, probably about this much room on top of it to store things in it. And on the other side here, underneath there, you've got all your batteries, your inverter, and your 6 litre water heater for your tank. So I can show you that when you come in the day, everything about what it actually shows there. I don't want to take it all apart now, but that all lives under there. Your 6 litre water tank doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're showering, it's great. You'll just adapt to that 6 litre, and every time you use it, it'll just keep topping up if you leave it on. We do advise, don't have any heating, trying to heat water up or heaters on while in motion. Wait until you've actually got and you're all settled and you're stationary before you do. It's quite important that please don't do it. So that's that. So under here, you can't use any of the space under here. Okay, you can't use any space under here, and you can't use any space under this side either, because under here is your heater, which is that's your diesel heater that heats up. This is your vent for your diesel heater here. Okay, so that's where your hot air will come out of that one there. And again, I'll show you how to do that now. So your water heater, I showed you how to do the water heater. So the diesel heater is very, very simple to use. But you must remember that you mustn't never let it go beyond a quarter of your diesel. It's got to be over a quarter full. It just won't work, which is in obviously the diesel comes from your engine diesel. So here we've got your diesel heating panel here. It's very, very simple, and again, please don't use anything else but the on off button and the temperature. So basically all you do is the middle button here, as you hold it in for a couple of seconds, and it said on. Did you see that? So it's now combusting there, and you've got two little arrows here which is pushing the diesel into your heating system from your diesel tank into your diesel engine heater. Okay, sorry. So these two arrows, okay, that's when you know that it's actually working now. So it does make a little bit of a noise at first. It sounds quite loud, and then it settles down. So you've got your arrows here above and below. That's for reducing and upping your temperature. So at the moment we've got it on 19 degrees. You can reduce it, you can put it up, and it'll cut off and start whenever it comes to that temperature that you've set. It's as simple as that. Don't be worried if you hear it sounds quite loud. It's completely normal. And then to turn it off, you just do the exact same thing again. You hold it in a couple of seconds, off, and that's it. It's that simple. That's all you have to do with your heater. Just remember about the quarter full. It mustn't go below that, or else it's like you just get all the dregs from the bottom of the engine, and it just damages it. So that's that. Okay, so here below here we have our hob. So we'll have an induction hob in this van, and you've just got to have the switch on. But just remember what I said, any heating element is only going to be used on its own. So you can't have your microwave and hob on together. You can't have your heater with your hob on together. It's got to be each one just on one at a time when you're off grid. When you're hooked up, you have 240 and you can use it like a house. It's absolutely fine. But off grid, you must remember that. Okay, so the hob, we've switched it on there. I'm going to go over to the panel here first of all to show you that the heater, I've switched the heater off, as you can see, and we're going to switch off the pump as well while we're here. Okay, so the little power when you're off grid, the better. Okay, so we've got it off grid at the moment. Now, just to let you know that the hob can only be used on 240, so we have to change it over from 12 volt to 240 volt. Okay, so if you just follow me out the van here, I'm going to show you what you do. So I go out the van. Okay, okay, so what you do, you open this little compartment here, and in here is where you operate your inverter. Okay, so at the moment it's showing that we are off grid. Okay, hi again. So we're going to continue the off grid mode. Okay, so before we're on 12 volts, so that's fine, but we weren't using the 240 volt. So in order to use your 240 volt, you've got to change this panel here. Okay, so we are on the off grid mode, which is great. Okay, but you also have to push in this button here, and that's you started your 240 volt, which means you can use your 3-point plugs, and you can use your induction hob, microwave. I think that's a bit in the van, but you need this on, and your heater. Okay, so this is on. So we've done that. So what we're going to do now, in fact, listen, if you do happen to through the night, if you've left something on, you might hear it bleeping. Okay, which means it'll drop maybe to 10 or even below, and you might hear a bleep. So if you hear a bleep, the best thing to do is open your back doors and just turn your inverter completely off. Okay, so you turn it off, and the bleeping will go off until the morning. Okay, that's what you have to do. Now we're coming to an on-site, a campsite. So this is what you have to do when you come to a campsite. Like Andy explained to you before, when you take your electric cable and you fit it into your big your own panel for your electricity 240, you have to come here as well. So what you have to do now is you've got to turn your inverter off, which is really important. That's got to be turned off. Turn it off your off-grid, and then you take the plug out of there and you simply switch it to the one on the right, which says on-site mains, and switch it on. Okay, so that's all you have to do when you're on mains. When you're on mains as well, it's a good idea to just switch this battery charger on, because the 240 volt that you're using will boost your battery power. So just turn that on as well at the same time. Okay, so that's what you have to do. So when you come back, you're leaving your campsite, turn it off, turn your battery charger off, back to off-grid mode, put your switch down and put your inverter down if you're using your 240. We're going to leave that on here now, because I'm just going to show you how to work your induction hob back in the van. So we're going to go back into the van. Okay. So we're going back into the van, and we're going to go over to your panel here. So your panel's here. So you've got to have this panel here. It's got to be switched on. All your sockets have got to be on at this point here. You don't need your heater on. You just need that panel on. You can see it's reading 12.6, which is still good. That's a good power on inverter. So we're going to go over to your hob here. I've just put a tiny little bit of water in. Okay, all your pans in here are for induction. They're all stainless based. It's on off position at the minute. Okay, your hob is going to be switched on there. Okay, so this is it's very, very simple. On, okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on watts. It's 1200. We don't want it on as high as 1200. You don't need it. So go down to the 800 watts. Go back to your panel and you can see it's fluctuating. Can you see? It's changed now. It's gone really low. All right, which is fine. It's still fine, and it's still heating up your water, your induction hob here, and you can see how quickly it's boiling. Look at that. It's brilliant. If you put it any higher than that, it'll just start bleeping, and it'll go probably below 10. But like I said, if it does go below 10, you can just turn your ignition on, like I said, and it'll boost your batteries. That's it, boiling. So you just turn it off. Simple as that. Turn it off there. It's very, very simple. You've done that. So what we do now is we're going to show you the shower and toilet, which is over here. Okay, shower and toilet is great. It's a great space. You've got in here, you've got your shower curtain, you've got your shower, your lights, and you've also got these hooks. These are fantastic because they hold up to 5k each. So if you've got wet coats or whatever, then put them in there and let them drip dry inside your shower. So in here too, you've got a cupboard, really deep cupboard, which is fab. It can hold all your towels and all your toiletries. Loads of space in there for you. Okay, let's close that over. Here we have your sink. You just pull it down like so. Move your little sink knob there, and you've got your hot and cold there. Now, in order to use that, you have to have your pump on. Okay, back to your panel. Your pump's got to be on. Okay, so pump switch on. Okay, and then your water will run. There we go. Water's on. Like I said, 80 litres of water, 6 litres of hot water at a time. Always remember when you're not using, so you're packing to go away, always remember to turn your pump off, because if you accidentally leave your tap on, which we did once, then you'll lose all your water. Everything will just completely go. So just remember to turn, it's best just to turn the whole panel off, but make sure your pump's off. Okay, this water runs down the back, okay, which is amazing, and it goes into your grey water pipe and into your black container. Okay, so it's just, you just push it out like that and it runs down the back of into the pipes. Fantastic, really. Toilet flush, which is here. Again, you need your pump on for your toilet flush. In this van, the pump itself is it's not working at the moment in this particular van, so we just use the shower. The shower hose works just the same. So you just lift it up, lift up your lid like that, and you just get your hose, your water hose, and put a little bit of water in. Now you have a lever here, which if I push it to the right, it opens up, okay? Push it to the left, it closes. Now what's underneath there is your chemical waste cassette, okay, which I'm going to explain to you in a minute how to use that. When you're using the chemical waste, when you're using the toilet, always make sure that the flap is open for obvious reasons, okay, and then closing when finished. Okay, when you're putting, this is your blue chemical breakdown that we use. Okay, so a good idea how to use this is when it's nice and clean and it's all been washed out, I would put it down the toilet because it goes straight into it, rather than putting it into the actual chemical cassette itself, because it can stain your clothes out. It's better to put it down the toilet. I recommend to use perhaps an inch of it at a time, okay? Every time you have a new cassette that's ready to use, put about an inch of it in, okay? So that's there. We always supply that for you too. So when you're removing your cassette, when you're ready to take it to wherever you're going to empty it, you've got to make sure that this flap is closed. If it's not closed, it won't be able to come out. So that's really important that. So I'm going to show you where your cassette is now. Okay, so we're going to close your door over. And the cassette is in here. It lives in here. So you'll always get your cassette clean, and you'll have your blue chemical fluid will actually be in it before you take the van away on your hire. Please make sure this comes back empty and clean as well. Thank you. So in here you have a little lever here. You must lift the lever and then release it. Lift it up and then pull it out. If it doesn't come out, it means you haven't closed your little lever inside the toilet seat itself. So you pull it out, okay, take the cassette out. It's got wheels, it's got a handle on it. So in here you have a little flap as well. So this flap opens up, okay, and you've got two arrows here on the flap. They've got to meet with each other. If those arrows don't meet, if you take this off for whatever reason, put it on the other way like that, it's the wrong way, okay? The arrows are the opposite way. They've got to meet. Okay, it's really important because it won't open inside either. Always make sure when you're putting this flap back on, the arrows meet. It's really important that, okay? Here we've got a button here, sorry, this one here, this button helps to get all the, you know, all your toilet waste out of it. It's like a little natural air pump which will help to release it all. That's what the button's for. Okay, so here what you do with this is, so it's full, so we recommend to empty it every day or two. Try and keep, and don't travel with it full. You don't want it to come out into your van, okay? So what you do, you lift it up, this part up here, you find wherever you tip it out, which is usually a big hole somewhere, a big concrete hole. You undo the top of this, excuse me, undo the lid at the top. Make sure you don't lose your lid. Put it somewhere safe, in your pocket or somewhere safe. If that falls down the hole, you snookers. You need to make sure that you look after this while you're emptying it out. So you tip it all out, and then you clean it back in, put your lid back on, and do all the reverse. Put it back. That goes back into place like that. Like I said, I wouldn't put your chemical fluid directly into there. I'd put it down the toilet. And then you can do that. You can put it in here if you want to, but it does stain. So then you just lift it up, and then you put it back in carefully, because there's a lot goes on under here that you can't see, and it's got to be looked after properly. This, and then you just push it back in until you hear it clicking, and then you pull the handle just to make sure it's in properly, which it is. So that's your toilet cassette, which is quite straightforward, but there's a few important things that you need to know about. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is your sink area. Okay, you have a hot and cold water tap here. Again, your pump needs to be on for that, so you turn your pump on, And then obviously you've got a hot and cold setting there, which is simple to use. This is great. This just folds up and you can put that anywhere you like, and it's got heavy wire in it, which is fab. We always supply with some washing up liquid in a bowl. And please, when you're using this, there's tiny pipes in this van. Don't put anything down here at all except grey water. And it's the same with the shower as well. Please don't put anything down it because it will block, and if it blocks, it spoils your holiday. So it's kind of self-explanatory, but we must tell you about that. So that's that, okay? So that's the in your little sink area, you've got everything in here that you need. You've got all your cutlery, all there, everything you need. And you've got all your plates and cups. It's all fully, we always leave it all fully equipped for you. In the bottom here, pots and pans, okay? And here, in this cupboard here, you have all your condiments and cloths and things that we leave in for you too. So it's all fully self-contained for you. Bottom one, in here we keep all your water things. So we keep all the hoses and all that, and all the cleaning things for your floor is in the bottom one. Okay. Now, if we just move along to the lounge area of your van, you can see the bed makes up to a Super King, okay? It can make up the whole bed, moves into Super King. You can either, this is a double one side here. So this will be exactly the same as this single piece here. It pulls out, and then you just basically lift it up a little bit and fit it into place, okay? It's the same with this one here. When you've taken your table off, and then all the cushions go like a jigsaw effect, which is fantastic. You can either have a double bed, a Super King, or two singles. Really, really flexible system. So that's your bed, okay, which is quite easy to use. On here again, before we go to the lighting, you've got another light switch here, which lights up the two side bits where underneath where your curtains are, and it's a nice extra lighting, okay? All your other lights, excuse me, each one of them is separate usage, so you can push it on and they're all dimmable, they're all individual dimmable, so you push it back in, hold your finger on it, and it will go up and down to whatever mood light you want. So they're all the same. That one, you've got 4 on the back here, you've got 2 strip lights on the back, you've got one on here, and you've got one above there just by the skylight, okay? Those aren't dimmable ones, these are just on and off switches, these ones here. But if of an evening, you, like I said, turn your whole panel off, it's lovely and dark, you don't need any lights on, you just need to make sure your pump's on if you want to flush in the night, that's all, but it's up to you. And when you open your shower door, you've got a lovely little switch, your little night light that comes on, so you don't disturb each other by putting all your lights on. Just a little added extra bit that we do there. The table, again, I'll send you a little video on that. We'll show you on the day how to take it on and off. It's not difficult. And you've got storage above. You've got 4 overhead lockers, which is great. For 2 people, there's more than ample enough space, and there's loads of room for 2 people. And like I said before, you've got under here full storage space under there, and you've got half a storage space under there too. Loads of room. Yeah, and we'd just like to add as well, please travel light and soft. Please don't bring any hard suitcases or anything hard like golf clubs or anything like that, because there's nowhere in the van for anything like that, and it damages the van. So please don't bring anything like that with you. Great. Okay, so we've done all that. Storage is all there. Now we're going to do the window blinds as well. Okay, window blinds. Now they're very, very complex, to be honest. So be really careful when you use them, because they can break really easily if you're a bit heavy-handed with them. So what you've got here is you've got your this is your nightshade one. So you squeeze these 2 levers together like that, and then you pull it down gently, okay? And then it will clip onto the bottom one like that, okay? And that's as simple as that. They're all working at the moment, they're all great. And then to release it, push this one down and it releases it. Push it down and then you squeeze them in and gently guide it back up like so. Okay, so and if you want to use your fly screen, you just push it down like this again and then squeeze the levers together. Okay, instead of releasing that, don't release it, squeeze them together and then lift it up again gently, and then your fly screen's there. Okay, which is great because you will need these on in your Scottish trips to the NC 500 with the midges. So you can either release it like that, it goes back down really gently like that, and then you don't damage anything. To open the window, simple. You've got 3 little levers, you push the button in, 1, push it in, lift it up, push it in, pull it to the left, and then just open your window. Okay, so you can have your fly screen, which again I'll show you again. So push them down like so, and then just squeeze them together again. You can have your window open if it's a lovely warm day or night with your fly screen. Okay, so when you release that back down, close your windows. Obviously again, make sure your windows are all closed like your step before you leave to go to wherever you're traveling next. Curtains again, if it is a bit cold and we're different seasons, the curtains are black out and they're all lined, and it makes it a lot warmer, so they do pull together. Okay, these are obviously your little coasters for your drinks, which are fab because your drinks won't move off them. It's great. It's the same on all the vans. All the windows are exactly the same to use for your screens, but this one's slightly different because of the door. When the door is pushed right over to the side so that it's open, these are different. These actually, you just push this lever here like that, you pull it towards you basically, it releases the catch, and it's a side opening window. Okay, so that's the only different one out of them all again, and they're all the same blinds there too. What else can I show you on here? Yes, you've got this is your cinema screen. It acts just like a normal roller blind. So all you do with it is you put your finger in here and the 2 little levers here and just pull it down. It's as simple as that. Pull it all the way down like that. Okay, and that's your screen. So the projector's not in here again. We'll show you when we see how to work the projector. And then you just push it back up like a roller blind. You just hold it at the bottom and then just gently push it back into its casing, and that's it. So I think I've covered most things inside the van. Yeah, all done. Thank you. We hope you have a lovely time, and any questions, don't hesitate to call or text us. Thank you.